Hello. Thanks for agreeing to set up this interview. As you know, we only have a short amount of time, so let's go ahead and get started right away. Now, I know that you've been involved in some work on community issues. Can you tell me what attracted you to the community issue that you chose at the beginning of the semester?
Yes, that's a great question, actually. The community issue that I chose was the effect of zebra mussels on Minnesota lakes. And I did this community issue because fishing is a big part of my life. I would go fishing almost every single day in the summer when I was little, when I would go to my grandparents' house. And my grandpa was a professional fisherman, so that has a little bit to it, too. And I've noticed, like, in the last 5 years, especially going fishing, that the DNR, Department of Natural Resources, has set up more stations on the lakes that would check for these invasive species. And I always wondered, like, when I was younger, why would they have these stations up? Why would they have things to check what was on your boat? Because you're just going to go into a lake, so you're going to go in a different lake. But what's the difference? And I learned that some lakes have invasive species, such as zebra mussels, and they can kill the lake. They can kill everything in the lake, which is crazy to think. And so I was later informed that how detrimental the zebra mussels were to lakes, and that's why I picked this community issue.
Okay, thank you. Now, your materials also said that you were involved in a community issue team project that focused on a call to action. Can you share with me what call to action your team put forward and why you chose that call to action?
Yes, I can. The call to action that I chose for my or for the community the call to action that I chose for our team project was actually not the same community issue that we used. So we used the how to lower the crime rates in America, which is different, obviously, than the zebra mussels community issue. And we went with a very vague call to action, just because it's such a broad topic. So throughout our paper, we talked about how we could, as a person, individually, could help out the community in different ways, such as worry about your neighborhood and worry about how it's going to affect your lives. And if everyone does that, then the whole entire community will be protected. We were saying how if you see something wrong, don't try to do it yourself. Call the police, or let them work it out, and they will take care of it the way that it should be handled, instead of you taking care of it. And if you accidentally mess up, even if you're not trying to, the person opposing the situation, they might react harsher to you than it would be the police. And so that was our call to action. We might not have said it at the very end of the paper, but we said it throughout the whole entire paper and try to emphasize as much as we could.
I see. Now, if I were to ask the other members of your team what they think your biggest strength is, what do you think they would say, and why do you think they would say it?
The biggest strength that I have would be, I think I have, would be the organizational part of the speech. So not necessarily the content that goes into it, but what order we say things in, and the importance levels, maybe starting with the most important and then going to a little bit least important part and then coming back to important part. Kind of sandwiching that not so important part in the middle. That way it's overlooked more. Seeing, like, you'll see the most important part and you'll remember the first part and the last part, but not so much the middle part. So if you have a really good point to make it at the beginning or end. Don't put it in the middle, because people forget about that. And so I think that's my biggest strength in the team aspect of this persuasive speech.
Okay, great. What for you was the most challenging thing about working with your team?
I would say the most challenging thing about working with my team would have been just it's not my topic, and so I wasn't as well informed of the information that came from this topic. Since I had to switch from zebra mussels to the crime rates, I had to research a whole new topic, and it took me a while to meet the caliber that my persuasive speech mate was at. Since it was his topic, he's been researching it the whole entire semester, so he knew all about this, and it took me a while to catch up. And I would say that was my biggest challenge on this team persuasive speech.
Thank you. Okay, last question. In 30 seconds or so, tell me what your biggest takeaway was from COMM 110 this semester. What will stick with you and be useful to you?
So, as I said during my strength part of this interview, I would say my biggest takeaway from this class is knowing that organization is such a huge key to speeches and will make or break your speech. You can have amazing content in your speech, but it won't sound as good if it's not organized and it's not in the right order that it should be said in. And so I would say, yeah, my biggest takeaway would be the organizational skills that came with learning how to give speeches the right way.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. We'll probably be in touch with you in the next few weeks or so. Take care.
Thank you.